इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है, बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRMB TMT, चैंपियंस की पसंद।
Hi guys, are you all excited for the Indian T20 League 2021? Well, I am, and I have come across the great fantasy sports app called My 11 Circle, where you can use your cricket knowledge and skills to win in crores. The really unique feature about it is that what you can actually literally play with champions like Dada, Rahane, VVS Laxman on this app. Also, don't please hold your breath, because not only My 11 Circle have all these legendary cricketers on their app, they recently got the kings of energy and awesomeness on board. Ranveer Singh. Yeah, you heard it, that right. Ranveer Singh is on My 11 Circle. Download the app now.
Hello, hi, good evening. Welcome to Extra Time. And what a day it has been. ऐसा लगता है it has been a day of suspensions. बिल गेट्स की मैरिज सस्पेंड हो गई, कंगना रनौत के ट्विटर अकाउंट सस्पेंड हो गए, एंड फाइनली आईपीएल जो है वो भी सस्पेंड हो गया. दैट वाज द इनएविटेबल, ऐसा कह सकते हो आप. एंड आज भी मेरे साथ तीन बहुत ही सॉलिड पैनलिस्ट है, ऐसा कह सकते हैं, जिसमें से एक को हिंदी जो कह रहे हैं कि मुझे बहुत अच्छे से आती है, उनको मैं पूछूंगा क्योंकि ही इज ऑल द वे फ्रॉम ऑस्ट्रेलिया. सो आई वेलकम नॉर्मन यू टू दिस एक्स्ट्रा टाइम लाइव, एंड अलॉन्ग विद नॉर्मन आई वेलकम वंस अगेन माय गुड फ्रेंड सिद्धार्थ ऑल द वे फ्रॉम दिल्ली. कैसे हो आप? आई होप यू आर ऑल फाइन.
Fortunately, we are fine. Fortunately,
right. And of course, we have our very own Shoumitra Bose is now currently with Outlook. How are you, Dada? Shab bhalo?
I'm fine. Very shukriya. Thank you.
Right. Okay. We'll start with Shoumitra itself. बहुत सारे दिनों से हम लोग सुन रहे थे खेला होवे. एक्चुअली खेला हो गया, और क्या यही होना था एट द एंड, जब बहुत सारे वेन्यूज थे, इतना ट्रैवल करना था?
शायद जो भी हुआ शायद ठीक हुआ. मुझे लगता है कि जैसा आपने बोला था खेला होवे, और खेला हो भी गया एक तरफ, और जो भी हुआ शायद ठीक हुआ. और उसी को टू कैच क्यू फ्रॉम देयर, शायद आईपीएल में जो डिसीजन लिया गया है वो शायद ठीक डिसीजन है, क्योंकि हम लोग ये टूर्नामेंट के ऊपर डेली रिपोर्टिंग करते हैं. वी इंटरेक्ट विद लॉट ऑफ पीपल. सिंस वी आर फ्रॉम द मीडिया इंडस्ट्री, हम मीडिया पर्सन के साथ बहुत काम करते हैं, और खास करके जो ब्रॉडकास्ट मीडिया है, विच इज़ वेरी एसेंशियल फॉर द लाइव टेलीकास्ट ऑफ आईपीएल, वो सारे हमारे दोस्त हैं. क्योंकि मैं 10 साल ESPN स्टार में काम कर चुका हूँ, और मेरे सारा जो कोलीग्स जो मैच कवरेज कर रहे हैं फिलहाल दिल्ली और अहमदाबाद में, इनके साथ हमारा बातचीत होते रहता है. और मैं आपको सच बताऊं, वो बहुत खुश है कि ये टूर्नामेंट कॉल ऑफ किया गया.
राइट. सिद्धार्थ, और कोई ऑप्शन बचा नहीं था, बस यही एक ऑप्शन था जो कि शायद पहले ही हो जाना चाहिए था.
देखिए, BCCI वर ट्राइंग समथिंग वेरी वेरी एम्बिशियस. पहले के व्हेन टूर्नामेंट्स वर टेकिंग प्लेस इन द कोरोना वायरस पीरियड, तब एक दो बायलैटरल सीरीज हुआ करता था. दैट टाइम द बायो बबल कुड बी एनफोर्स्ड. ठीक है, ये पहला इंस्टेंस था व्हेन देयर वर 6 to 8 टीम्स, मतलब यू हैव टू क्रिएट 6 बायो बबल्स. अगर ये एक एक्सट्रीम केस है, इफ द BCCI हैड पुल्ड इट ऑफ, तो पूरी दुनिया तारीफ कर देती. वाओ, BCCI सेट द वे ऑफ हाउ टू प्ले मल्टी लेवल क्रिकेट इन द कोरोना वायरस सिचुएशन. लेकिन ये नहीं हुआ. देयर हैड टू बी अ ब्रीच, बिकॉज मेंटेनिंग 6 बायो बबल्स आसान बात नहीं है. UAE में the addition came off brilliantly because there were only 3 bio bubbles. Here there were 6, and in 6 different corners of the country.
Right.
So air travel, जैसे मैंने कहा था उस दिन भी, air travel will spread coronavirus a lot more. Traveling spreads coronavirus a lot more. Right. अब प्रॉब्लम ये हुआ कि आज भी एक रिपोर्ट मैंने पढ़ा, एक बड़ा डिस्टर्बिंग रिपोर्ट था ये. जो GPS ट्रैकिंग डिवाइसेस प्लेयर्स पहन रहे थे, वो खुद काम नहीं कर रहे थे. It was not working.
Okay.
So even if there was social distancing enforced, normally जब कोई player पास आता है, it used to send off a beep. But that didn't work. So combination of inefficient tools plus the logistical nightmare of maintaining 6 bio bubble का BCCI पे बहुत भारी हो गया. So in the end, it had to unfortunately go down this route. अब देखते हैं नेक्स्ट कौन सा विंडो मिलता है उन लोगों को टू शेड्यूल द IPL, बिकॉज कैंसलिंग वुड मीन टू मच. बट वेयर इज द विंडो? मे बी सितंबर, अक्टूबर, लेट्स होप. एक चीज मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ अभिषेक, 6
बिल्कुल।
बायो बबल नहीं 12 बायो बबल, क्योंकि बीसीसीआई का एक एक वेन्यू में दो बायो बबल, जैसे मान लीजिए मुंबई में there were 2 bio bubbles. In
Yeah.
fact, rather there were 3 bio bubbles, one for the teams, and Star का एक अपना bio bubble,
Yes.
और वर्ल्ड फीड कमेंटेटर्स के लिए दूसरा बायो बबल. तो they were Star and the broadcasting team itself had 2 bio bubbles, and in one
Right.
of the bio bubbles, which was in a hotel called Four Seasons, 14 people of the hotel staff, which were part of the bio bubble, were down with virus, and
Okay.
and the BCCI didn't know about it. You know, and a
Right.
large section of the world production team was in that bio bubble. Fortunately, nothing happened to the people, but
Right.
that means the bio bubbles were not secure. वो जो सिद्धार्थ आपको कहा है, 6 bio bubble नहीं, 12 से ज्यादा अधिक.
Yes. Even the groundsmen had their own bio bubble. Groundsman का भी
Right.
था. So yes, more and more bio bubbles were there. Yep.
राइट. आई एम श्योर सभी के लिए डेटा फ्री कर दिया गया होगा, और वो भी ओनर्स ही देख रहे होंगे, क्योंकि बाय बबल में उसकी बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत पड़ती है. विल कम टू नॉर्मन.
Yes.
Michael Slater has pushed off to Maldives, and is there something of a words war that has been started between
Okay.
Michael Slater and Australian PM?
Can you hear me,
Scott Morrison?
guys? Because I can't hear you at the moment.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, we'll come back to
what you're saying, guys.
Right. Okay, we'll come back to Norman in a bit.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Do you want?
All right.
Okay, so you were talking about Michael Slater going to the Maldives.
Right.
You were talking about that aspect. Look, as far as can I just make a very strong comment about Australia and how they handle biosecurity during the Test series? Now, we were clearly in a full situation of the coronavirus. We had a situation there where we had a bio bubble. Admittedly, it was only 2 teams, it wasn't 8. But we were able to make sure from the very start that we had everybody play in Sydney and then ultimately in Canberra. People just didn't move hotels, they didn't move locations. The bubble was very secure. There were no guests or no fans at the game. I can't comprehend what the differences are. Admittedly, India's got a multitude more layers of people. I appreciate that. But in a very simple process, if in India we kept it to one location from the very start, you may have seen a very different result. They're now considering going to Mumbai only. I believe they're always going to struggle playing in multiple locations around the country with a widespread amount of COVID. If they picked, say, Mumbai at the beginning, they would have had a better chance of surviving 2 months. Look,
Right.
You've got to commend the BCCI and IPL for trying. They tried very hard in a very, very difficult set of circumstances, and they're able to get 26 matches, or no, more like 28 matches, 29 matches actually complete. That's amazing in itself, to be really honest with you. If you look at the entire Test series, ODIs, T20s, we didn't have 29 games either against multiple sides and different locations. So, quite frankly, it's commendable how far the BCCI and IPL have gone, and I don't want to detract from the efforts they've made, but they're on a game to nothing really. They could not have done this for as long as they did. They ended up having problems, and now it's becoming exponential, and if it continues, it'll get worse. As we know, they've suspended. But I'm not sure whether you want me to talk about it, but the intensity of interest, people always say to me, they don't believe me when I say that the IPL is big in Australia. It's huge. Not only from the perspective of the COVID situation or the ban that's been embarked on here in Australia between May 1st and 15th, but look at the front pages of the paper. It's as clear as a bell that the information is there in full. We're talking about all about the bans, about the travel, the IPL, the threat to the likes of Pat Cummins. A complete front page, a massive front page of the whole situation. Not just a small little article in the corner. It's the front pages about the concerns about Pat Cummins and Ben Cunning being a part of KKR. But it's quite notable how distinct we are involved. We have been watching the IPL greatly. As you can see there, we've got pages there, 2 full spread pages. What that tells you is the interest in cricket in India is immense. Ever since the Test series back in December, January, cricket interest has been immense, whether it be the India-England series or the IPL or the World Test Championship or the World Cup. India is the focus, and it's very commendable that we have got such great cricket. We're enjoying it. We didn't play against South Africa. We're not playing against Bangladesh. We're basically bereft of any cricket here at all, other than domestic cricket. And Australia's suffering greatly. There's a lot of talk about Michael Slater. To be really honest with you, I think sensationalised things. I'm actually quite annoyed with him. This whole blood on your hands is complete garbage. Complete garbage. Because Scott Morrison himself said on Channel 9, I think this morning, that we will never impose a $66,000 fine. We will never charge them for 5 years. But that's typical government discussion of the extremes of what may happen. Of course, we don't want people coming into the country, but we're not imposing these ridiculous figures on anyone. He said it himself that it's unlikely. In fact, very unlikely. So Michael Slater's reaction is ridiculously sensationalised. I'm sorry, and I'm annoyed by what I'm annoyed, and Australians on the street here are absolutely annoyed with what Michael Slater's saying because it was just sensationalised. We're actually dismissing it as rubbish. So that whole thing we're talking about him being in Morley's, it's been dragged on for something which is totally unnecessary. We're dismissing him. We're not even taking into account what he said. It's quite ludicrous. Blood on our hands. It's complete garbage. Complete garbage. It's very sensible what we're doing regarding the ban. It's not because we don't like India or it's got nothing to do with that. But we want to make sure that we have a 15-day period, which is not forever. 15 days is nothing. In the scheme of things, it's not. It's a delay to the peak of what's happening in India. It's very sensible. It's not a blood. I'm annoyed with what Slater said, and so is Australia. He's sensationalising it. I'm sorry. It's embarrassing because Scott Morrison's handled it beautifully. He's handled it very, very well. The concept of the ban is not what we're thinking. It's a 15-day delay for having people coming in at the peak of a problem where they can make their way through Doha, all different other locations, and get through New Zealand without any form of bubble at all, no form of quarantine. That's where the problem is. That's the reason why it's been opposed.
Right.
If they came through Darwin, they were there for quarantine for 2 weeks. There's no issue. But if they come through New Zealand, we wouldn't be able to control that, and that's where the problem is.
Right. Quite clear and harsh words, of course, from Norman. We'll come to Siddharth. Siddharth, so what's the way forward? September में कोई date ऐसा सुनने में आ रहा है कि शायद फिर से हो, chances है?
Yes, क्योंकि देखिए अभी 2 dates है, but एक period तो बहुत unlikely है. ICC World Test Championship 18 to 22 के बाद in July players are relatively free until the middle of the month. उसके बाद they will go to England for 5 tests, 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. That's the schedule. September to October seems to be the most likely period कि IPL can be resumed because the World T20 will happen in November. अब ये इंडिया में होगा या यूएई में होगा, that is another debate altogether. ICC, BCCI दोनों के लिए सबक मिल गया है that having different biobubbles in different parts of the country is not going to help. You either need to keep it in 1 or 2 specific venues. जैसे देखिए, like Norman said, if you had kept it in Mumbai at the starting of April itself, there were 4 venues there. Wankhede, Brabon, DY Patil, and even to a certain extent BKC ground, Bandra Kurla complex zone.
Right.
But what might have not tempted the BCCI to hold it at that time in one venue is because April में Maharashtra and Mumbai had the brunt of the coronavirus second wave.
Yeah.
11,000 cases in Mumbai every day. Maharashtra, there were 60, 70, 80,000 cases a day. So that might have probably dented them कि नहीं, हमें यहाँ नहीं करवाना है. But then you saw what happened here. This, if BCCI does not take the lessons that, okay, let us not keep it in multiple venues. Only then probably the World T20 might be salvaged in India. But we don't know coronavirus अभी और क्या दिखाने वाला है. They are saying that in middle of May there's going to be another surge. Then they are saying there's going to be a surge in August as well. So it all depends on the coronavirus situation and how it is in the country. UAE में it's probably under control. 2 venues में खेल सकते हैं, max 3. So there you understand the logistics. If the BCCI doesn't wake up now, and then say, no, we'll keep it in all 8-10 venues, World T20 ke liye. Logistically, every state association needs to be satisfied. No. Coronavirus is going to hit you back with a vengeance. IPL में 7 players हो गए, along with staff members. If you don't learn now, you'll never learn.
Right. So, Shaumitroda, coming to you, is it pretty evident now that 90% chances है कि World T20 अब UAE ही चला जाए, इंडिया में नहीं हो?
आपको शायद एक चीज पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आप इंडियन स्पोर्ट्स के साथ इतना दिन से सिद्धार्थ भी है. The cricket decisions are not always made by logic in India.
Yes.
No.
अगर nowhere in the world are decisions made by logic.
Right.
Cricket is such a heavy politicized event that logic always does not rule the game. इसलिए मैं बता रहा हूं, ये जो आप देखिए वर्ल्ड T20 venues जो हमने चूज किया था, we have chosen places like Dharamshala and Lucknow, which are currently hotspots in terms of COVID.
Right.
Right. Apart from the cities, like big cities like Mumbai, Delhi, every top city is infected with the virus. Apart from the fact that you don't know how the coronavirus is going to attack again, the fact remains that the first thing that both ICC and BCCI will come out of their mind is the political angle. They have to think logically. If the 2020 World T20 in Australia was cancelled because of COVID, and the decision taken by ICC came in the month of July, that means August, 4 months before the tournament was to commence. That means technically ICC should take a decision next month, so that it gives whichever venue is going to host 4 months. Given the current situation, India is not in a position to host the World T20. That means, and if India is still going to host it, that means you are being partial because you denied Australia but gave India. And don't forget that Australia had better control over the virus than India has right now. And there is no guarantee that India is going to have better control than any other country, because we are the worst in the world now.
Right.
So in terms of logic, no. In terms of politics, you don't know, because there's a lot of trouble in ICC. And there are a lot of political equations which are changing, which you are aware of, especially with the current CEO, Manuswani, in a very difficult and sticky wicket.
Yes.
So you will have to consider two aspects of it. One is the logical aspect of it. If you ask me, अगर logic से आप बताएं तो क्या होना चाहिए? अगर लॉजिक से हो तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया को आपने अगर नहीं करने दिया तो इंडिया को नहीं करना चाहिए.
Right.
अगर पॉलिटिकल एंगल आपको पता है, बीसीसीआई में कुछ भी हो सकता है, वर्ल्ड क्रिकेट में कुछ भी हो सकता है. But this fact that September is a window, that means India will also have to sacrifice some of its bilateral commitments during that phase. Now, whether that is good for world cricket, कि आप आपका IPL करने के लिए आपने आपका bilateral commitments according to the FTP you're sacrificing. So overall, it is a very sticky and difficult situation for Indian cricket. So if I was ICC, I would call India and look at logic more than anything else. And if you look at the current situation, and as Siddharth pointed out, that if we are going to learn from the mistakes that we have done as a nation or BCCI, I would say as a nation, because we had lowered our guard and this is what has happened. So the point is we should not lower our guard for the next 1 year and make sure that not IPL 2021, we should think about IPL 2022 so that everything happens in a proper way. That's my view.
Right. Very well and very rightly put, Shaumitroda. Norman, will come to you. How difficult is it for the players? A big scale tournament has been abrupted midway, and then they have to go back home, keep themselves fit and motivated, mentally also ready, because you don't know when the next tournament is going to be, and then you have to keep performing, especially for players who are on the fringe of national selection.
Well, certainly. It's almost like two tournaments, quite frankly, what we've seen and what we will see in the future. It's like a restart that will have to occur, regardless of the time and the tabling of the players, where they are at in terms of their position on the table. Really, it's like a new tournament. It's virtually like a new tournament, and they'll have to approach it that way. The players that are on the fringe of being selected for the World Cup, Dave Warner will be very happy, very, very happy at the moment, because his situation is now to the back burner, where it was quite to the forefront about a couple of days ago. He can quietly be happy. It is going to be two tournaments. Wherever it is, whenever it is, it'll be two tournaments. But of course, why not bring it to Australia? Bring it to Sydney. We have no COVID. We have Norman here. We have chocolate cake. We're ready for you. Just bring the World Cup, the IPL to us. That's my answer. You're on mute.
I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes. But Norman, it will be timing issues. I guess.
I'll ask the question.
I guess it will be timing issues. That's the major
So-
problem. Imagine if we play at 4 o'clock. 7:30 p.m. IST. What will be the time be in Australia? 12 o'clock. You wouldn't want to play at that time. I'm sorry.
I'm used to it. I've been doing it for 26 days in a row. I'm used to it. No, you're right. You are right. But the reality is it'll be almost a brand new tournament. Whenever or wherever they play this, the team has to take an attitude of starting from fresh, which may help some of the lower base sides in the competition. But you would still think the best teams will come to the fore. Will their players be available? Will they be able to play for those matches? There's going to be all sorts of complications to that, won't there?
I mean, Norman, the best places in the world now currently that are capable of hosting normal cricket, pre-COVID normal, is Australia and New Zealand. There are fans, there are facilities. The bio bubble and the value for life is much more stringently enforced in Australia and New Zealand than anywhere else in the world. So ideally, cricket should be only hosted there for this last couple of years. But as usual, broadcasting and other logistics and other political things, it doesn't allow you to do that.
Can I make it clear? Can I make one point very clear? People always say, "Oh, Australia's a small-numbered country. It's an island. It's easy to maintain." That's garbage. We have the same complications as anywhere else. I don't think you should look at numbers. We've handled it very intelligently. So has New Zealand. We've had great contact tracing from day one. I think that I look at the Indian situation. I look at the crowds. You still had people in the stands. I know there were family and friends of the CEO of the players. That was wrong. That was perception-wise, that was wrong. It gave Indians an impression that things were normal. The cameras were always going to the players' wives, management CEOs, as if everything was normal. They were even not wearing masks. That perception was horrible. It looked like there was a crowd when there shouldn't have been anyone in that stands. No one. No family, no CEO's brother, nobody should have been in those stands at all. That was a big mistake.
Right. Siddharth, so how difficult is it for the Indian players, going back to the family, not stepping out at this moment, staying indoors and maintaining your fitness level, of course, your mental level as well?
देखिए, coronavirus has posed a mental challenge unlike any other things before. I mean, bio-bubble fatigue is real. It is very real. I mean, even look at all of us. The players are going out to play. They have to maintain that extra level of fitness physically as well. Again, all of us, none of us have gotten out of our homes for the last 20, 21, 22 days because all of us fear for our safety. This Indian variant is very, very deadly and infectious. So, if we take it lightly, coronavirus is going to impact you like hell. It will reduce you to wrecks. Second, India के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है now because see, in a very dark sense of the way अगर मैं कहूँ, IPL was giving them some distraction, but now that is not happening. From now till June 18th, there is nothing for them to look upon. So it's again that same doom and gloom. Oh, today there were 350,000 cases. There were more deaths. India is not doing anything. Oxygen, medical, all the doom and gloom that is there is now going to happen all over again. Player safety is important. बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So BCCI is at least doing one good thing that इन लोगों को ensure करा है that they are back to safety. Player safety and back to their families is very, very important. The Australian situation, the New Zealand players, the South African players, Cricket South Africa ने बोल दिया that there is no problem, but you'll have to quarantine according to WHO rules. New Zealand में there is no issue of the that you cannot enter, but you have to undergo 14 days of quarantine. Australia, they have taken it one step ahead, but it is necessary because in fact they have worked very, very hard. 100 days there was no cases. When the Australian Open happened, tab achanak there was a spurt in Melbourne. Then they had to again lock it down, and then they had to ensure cases were under control. So I hope the foreign players get home first. The Indian players definitely need to go home and ensure that they are away from all the bio-bubble fatigueness. Especially जब आप prepare कर रहे हो, there is technically one major tournament आ रहा है 5 दिन के लिए, June 18th. That is also a major event in world cricket. But this is a jolt. It is very sad that it has happened. But we have to take the lessons from it and move on and say, ये दोबारा ना हो, नहीं तो बाकी IPL, any ICC event impact हो जाएगा, and the BCCI will be left floundering. Image has already taken a hit, by the way. The image has already taken a big hit.
Siddharth,
Yeah.
Siddharth, you can keep David Warner. Keep David Warner there. We don't need him. You can keep him there.
Right.
Please,
Okay,
please,
I'll come
please,
to
please, please.
Right. Okay. Shaumitru, I'll come to you. This is a very agonizing time for even the common people, the players, everyone associated in each or every field, whatever they are, be it personal or professional. लेकिन एक स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट के लिए कितना मुश्किल होता है ये टाइम, क्योंकि अभी लाइफ कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, तो फिर कितनी दिक्कतें होती हैं अपनी चीजें चलाने में.
अगर आप
ये मैं आप तीनों से पूछता हूँ.
मैं आपको एक खबर देना चाहता हूँ कि आज सुबह हमारे बहुत जाने माने एक पत्रकार टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया रुचिर मिश्रा, उनका डेथ हुआ है कोविड का वजह से. He was 40 years old. He has a very young wife and 2 children. That gives you what kind of mood we are in. We have lost a very senior boxing official this morning, a very capable sports administrator. Today. Yes, 2 days back, we lost a very important football official in Delhi, DK Bose. When we look at all this, we are not looking at what happiness that IPL brings. If you look around you, some friend, some acquaintance, some family member has died. Now, sport has this great thing of mourning deaths. Have you ever seen any IPL match starting with some sense of mourn, some sense of grief? No, it hasn't. While it is a fact that IPL हमको बहुत सारा joy देता है, good innings like देवदत्त पाडिक्कल या क्रिस गेल का बैटिंग, but वो तो सिर्फ वो 3 घंटे के लिए देता है, और दिन में आपका जो 21 घंटा है वो तो आप कोविड ही सोच रहे हो. आपने सवाल पूछा कि स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट हिसाब से क्या, हम स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट के हिसाब से सिर्फ हम IPL नहीं सोचते हैं, हम इंडियन पार्टिसिपेशन इन टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स भी सोचते हैं. वो क्यों नहीं आप सोच रहे हैं? आप क्यों सिर्फ IPL की बोल रहे हैं? हमको जुलाई महीना में हमको सबसे बड़ा इवेंट जो वर्ल्ड में है वो ओलंपिक्स है. आप उनका हालत देखिए, बॉक्सर्स को कोविड, हॉकी प्लेयर्स को कोविड, शूटर्स उनको पता नहीं है वो कहाँ जाएंगे ट्रेनिंग करने के लिए 3 महीना, अभी क्रोएशिया शायद जाएंगे. रिले रेस जो दूती चांद हिमा दास अभी तक क्वालिफाई नहीं किया, उनका वर्ल्ड रिले जाना था पोलैंड में, नहीं जा पा रहे. ये भी तो स्पोर्ट्स ही है ना. तो आप अगर मुझे सवाल पूछ रहे स्पोर्ट्स जर्नलिस्ट के हिसाब से, हम सिर्फ IPL के बारे में नहीं सोचते हैं, हम स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में सोचते हैं, बिकॉज इंडियंस have to go for an Olympics in less than 2 months' time, and we are still not prepared. 7 girls in the hockey camp in Bangalore have tested positive. 2 days ago, the men's players who have taken the vaccine have all fallen sick. Nobody knows. This is not reported, but these are facts. So why are we not talking about them?
Right.
Why are we only talking about IPL? I think COVID has been a great leveler. As sports journalists, if you ask me the question, we have to think overall, not just IPL. And the IPL is just a small portion. It may be huge in terms of Indian sport, but with Olympics coming up and the difficulties faced by you, me, mine, and my family around me, I'm not in a very happy position.
Right, right. There's so many things to talk about, but keeping everything in a half an hour time frame is a big challenge. But the bigger challenges which our country is going through at this moment, the bigger challenge is with all of us. Let's hope that all of us sail through this. I thank you so much, and I thank you, Norman, as well from Australia for joining us, and Siddharth and Shaumitrada as well. And I hope that you all stay safe and we'll connect again soon. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care.
Pleasure,
Be safe.
pleasure.
Bye.
All the best.
Be safe.